Hey, Lesley, welcome to the show.
Hi, Tammy. Thanks for having me.
Yes, I'm so excited to have you. Now, I heard your podcast episode with Ijama, and what you were talking about, the topic you were talking about, was so interesting to me because I love SEO and Google Analytics, but I'm not always proficient at it. And so you were talking about it in a way that related specifically to Etsy shops. And I thought that was just a wild idea. I still don't know how to do it. So I'm excited that you're here today to teach all of us what this means, how we might do it, and how you can help us in the future. So thank you so much for being here. So my first question is, you do have an Etsy shop, right? What is your Etsy shop and what do you sell?
So my Etsy shop is called Little Bone Collector, and I make fiber and found jewelry.
Oh.
Yeah. So it's a lot of crochet, stones, snail shells, bones, obviously.
Oh my
Um,
goodness. Oh, that's
yeah.
so awesome. I just love meeting the creative community. People just make so many different things. It's just awesome. So crochet, that is something I don't know how to do. I just never had the patience to learn. So kudos to you. So so you have the Etsy shop, you're creative. How do you get into the Google Analytics side of things?
So I also am a web developer. And that's
Oh,
what I've studied at uni, and that's what's been my career for the past 10 years. And I've moved into other things like project management and account management and like business analytics and all that kind of stuff, planning. But part of doing web development is setting up Google Analytics, and so I just kind of fell into it. And what was happening in my career was that I was feeling really stressed about not being able to show the value of the work that we were doing, because I
oh.
don't know if you or anyone who listening has ever had a website built, but they can be really expensive. So you want to make sure that you're getting value from all that money that you're spending.
Yeah.
And so I was thinking to myself, why are we doing what we're doing? And so I had to, using Google Analytics was a no-brainer. It just had to happen. And so I had to learn how to use it in a way that actually showed the results that we were getting.
So, and what's amazing to me for Etsy shop owners is like I'm the Facebook ads person and I love running Facebook ads and helping people grow their list, but we can't put the pixel on the Etsy shops.
Ah,
They
have
changed
you
that.
seen? If you go into marketing now, there's Facebook ads beta,
I
and
don't
it does
have it
talk
yet.
about the pixel. I haven't.
So
Oh, really? I'm surprised
no,
I have it then. Oh,
yeah, I don't have it yet, and I've heard from other people
wait,
that have it,
look
but
up.
I'm so excited, but I was confused if it was just with their pattern website or is it
It didn't seem
for,
to be. I don't have pattern, so and
yeah.
it came up for me, the little bone
Yeah.
collector. Yeah.
And one of my students in the front page guide to Etsy, she told me she's got the beta too. So I'm Facebook, give it to me so I can, get in there and
I
see what
know.
it's all
You're the first person who can have it.
about. That's so crazy. But, up until now, what I love about being able to run ads is all the cool things that you can do with Power Editor and different things. And I have seen third-party companies like I have Expertise TV for when I do webinars, and we're able to put the like ID number of our pixel code in the back end of that, but not the whole code and not the event codes like purchase and
Right. Yep.
all add to cart and all of that stuff. So I'm really curious to see if you can do that with the new Facebook beta that they're doing. But anyway, up until then, you could put Google Analytics on there, and I have it on there, but I don't know how to read it. I don't know how to actually figure out who's coming to my shop, and is it because of something that I did, or is it because of something Etsy's doing? So walk me through the process. I don't even know the right question to ask you first.
Sure. So the first thing you have to know about how Google Analytics works with Etsy is that the traffic source, as I call them, where they came from, whether that's within Etsy or Facebook or they typed it in directly, all of those kinds of things, by default, the source that you see in Google Analytics is how they found Etsy. So if they've come via Etsy search, you won't see that in analytics, but you do see it in shop stats. So if you haven't made any changes to your Google Analytics account, your shop stats traffic sources are going to be more accurate. But there's a whole bunch of other benefits of using Google Analytics. So that's how come you want to work on that. So the most important piece that I have on my blog for free, it isn't a pitch, is how to change your traffic sources so that they're accurate. And it's quite in-depth and involves lots of copying and pasting of little codes, but it's pretty straightforward. And if you do that, it'll start detecting when people are coming via Etsy search and what search term they've used, whether they're coming via a forum post that you've posted or a link from like if you go to tag. Yep. Emails come up already because they're not within Etsy. So what this does is that it takes all the Etsy traffic that you're getting, which is going to be considerable, and actually detects it and splits it out into all the different ways that people can find you via Etsy.
Okay, so
otherwise it'll be much to direct, which is
right, and then we don't really quite know. When I go into Etsy, and I've been talking with people about this too, and on the webinars that I do, is going into your shop stats and then going into search terms. And so that's what I've been doing to kind of figure out how they're finding my listings. But you've got a free thing on your website that's going to help us with the actual codes that we can put in Google Analytics to make sure the source is correct. And
that's right. Yes.
Okay, so I will definitely be linking that in the show notes and changing all of my stuff, because I want to know, where people are coming from, and at this point, I just haven't dove in enough to figure out what that means and what that looks like. I kind of know for my own website, and I know the blogs, and I can figure out, what's organic traffic and what's ads and different things like that. But with Etsy, I had no idea that you could even do this. So you've got a dog.
Sorry, did
That's
you
awesome.
My dog, yeah, he was sitting in my office and decided to bark at something.
My cats will be walking around here any minute now, I'm sure. So, okay, so traffic sources is a big deal. Is there anything like secondary? What else should we, or some cool thing that will be able to be revealed within our Etsy shops in Google?
Yep. So the most disappointing thing that you'll find is that Google Analytics won't show you sales. Etsy doesn't send a sale to Google Analytics. And if you've ever looked into it, you'll know this, and it's really, really disappointing. So as a sort of proxy, instead of being able to show actual sales and conversion rates, which would be awesome, I recommend using something like an engagement rate. And I have another article which shows how you can build that, and it combines a bunch of different things, but the kind of things that you want to look at are bounce rate.
Okay.
And you'll see this, you've probably seen this in your reports, anyone who's looked will have already seen it. Bounce rate, number of pages in a session. A session is a visit.
Oh.
These are the kinds of things that show how interested that visitor was in your shop. If they've clicked around a lot and they've spent a lot of time, they haven't just left straight away, they're getting there, they're engaging with you. And once you can see that, you can combine that with search terms, for example, and have a look at all your search terms and see which one actually results in the most engagement.
Oh my goodness, this is like blowing my mind right now. Oh my goodness. So I just did not, I put the code on Etsy and I didn't do anything about it. I haven't gone in to actually be a student of it. So this is really interesting. So what would we look for in a bounce rate? I still don't even know from my other stuff what I'm supposed to look for. It's supposed to be low?
It depends. If you're not sure what bounce rate is, it's when someone arrives on a page and then they leave straight away and they don't click onto any other pages.
Okay.
So that's a bounce. In a normal website, if you imagine some pages like a contact page, if someone arrived on a contact page, they might very well leave straight away because they've found your phone number or your email address. And so On some pages, the bounce rate isn't too bad. On other pages, like your homepage, which they can't really do anything on, bounce rate is not a good thing at all. On Etsy listings, if you have kind of maybe cheaper products or products that people impulse buy, you might find you have a higher bounce rate on those products, because if someone lands on the listing, clicks add to cart, which is what you want them to do, they're going to get whisked away into the Etsy cart system, and that actually is a bounce, even though they're about to buy your product.
Oh, okay.
If they do happen to click back to keep shopping, then it's not a bounce. But if you only tend to sell one product at a time, you might find that you have a high bounce rate, but your sales are fine.
Oh, it's so interesting. Okay. So everyone needs to pay attention to the bounce rate, the page views, search terms, to really become a student of your listings and improving things. So I'm teaching people about keywords. Is that something that we can look at in Google Analytics, like in our titles and tags and things like that? That one.
You mean Etsy, like Etsy keywords, Etsy SEO?
Well, I guess I'm wondering. Yes, so that's what I know about. But can we search Google Analytics and find out the search terms over there and how they got to Etsy?
No, you can't. And that's because you don't have control over the code of your Etsy shop. So there is a tool from Google called Search Console, and if you have your own website, you might be familiar with it.
Yeah.
But you can't attach that to your Etsy shop, and that's the only way to see all your search queries that are sending you traffic from Google.
Oh, okay. So I can see that in my other stuff, but not for Etsy, because I've gone in there and saw landing pages and then the referrals and things like that. So, okay. So that's making sense. So if let's just say you're just starting out with your Etsy shop, should they be concerned about this now, or when is a good time to change codes and really kind of get into this?
You should definitely set up your account, and you should fix your traffic sources. You should do that straight away, because those changes don't happen to data that's already in your account. Nothing in Google Analytics is retroactive.
Oh.
So if you do it now and you've had your shop open for 3 months, none of your sources from 3 months ago will change.
Oh.
So do that straight away. But if you're just starting a new store, you probably don't need to worry about all the millions of different numbers that you see, because the most important thing for you right now is just sessions, just getting lots and lots of visits from anywhere and everywhere. And then once you're starting to get a lot, you can start to narrow them down based on what's actually working.
Okay. How many sessions do you recommend that we try to get to in order to really make the most out of Google Analytics and the data that you're talking about?
That is a really good question.
Oh, good.
I generally recommend 500 to 1,000 as a minimum.
Okay.
And that doesn't mean you have to be getting those visits every week or every day. It just means that you need to increase the dates that you're looking at in your report to have that many sessions in the report. So if that takes you a month or 2 months, then just wait until you've gathered enough. 1,000 to 2,000 or even more is even better. And the reason for this is because of statistical significance, which sounds kind of mathy.
Yeah.
But basically, if you're seeing only 2 sessions and they've done something that looks really important, well, it could just be chance. It could be because they left your shop open in their browser while they went grocery shopping, and it looks like they were on there for hours.
They were just staring at staring at your products for hours. Oh, that's interesting. Okay. So there's a lot to this, it sounds like. I mean, or on the one hand, I'm feeling like you're the person that could help us, get ourselves organized. And you do that, right? For Etsy shop owners, we can hire you to help us get. Yeah. Okay. And then you also have articles that we can read as well. Okay. So what else? I mean, there's so much within Google Analytics. When we advertise, let's say, on Etsy and we use Google Shopping, does that do you recommend doing that? Does that help us? Have you seen spikes there and helping us get those sessions up?
Yep, the clients that I've seen that use Google Shopping ads get a lot of traffic through it. And you can see all that traffic in Google Analytics. And actually, you see quite a lot of information because it's effectively AdWords. And so it connects with analytics really well because it's both Google. So that is definitely there. Any kind of advertising, I tend to see, you'll see a higher bounce rate. And that's just advertising. You probably see this with Facebook ads. They just tend to bounce a bit more.
Right.
So don't be alarmed if the engagement is lower or something like that. But I've certainly see that they send a lot of traffic for the clients that I have.
Okay. Yeah. So if you're starting out, or even if you're just trying to up-level your shop, it'd be good to advertise, whether it's, Google probably would be good to start out with. And then I always save Facebook ads for later because I feel like there's more to them. And, because you don't want to just, until we get the pixel thing figured out, you don't want to just run Facebook ads directly to your Etsy shop. That's not going to be very good. But yes, I think, going in there, if you're starting out or you just want to see and get some of this data, get your codes organized and then start gathering data to figure out what's working and what isn't working. So have there been any big surprises for you as you started diving into this, when you started switching up codes and personalizing your Google Analytics dashboard? Did something stick out that was like, oh, this is really cool or surprising, I didn't know?
For my shop in particular, or for how Google Analytics is sort of set up and working?
Either. Or for your client.
I was surprised by how they didn't play together very well.
Yeah.
It took me ages to sort of to develop these techniques for configuring them and actually making it useful. And I can totally understand why people set up their analytics account and then just kind of go, oh, well, I don't really see what I'm getting out of this. And then they just give up on it. I can understand that completely. But with my shop is really tiny. So I'm one of those people where it's just about sessions. So for me, it's just like get more traffic. But I can see definitely, this particular search terms that are coming in, but I have to look at really, really big ranges. Actually, what I have seen this year is that I haven't done any promoting of my own personal Etsy shop all year. So my trend graph for the whole year goes like this.
Oh, okay.
And there, even for Christmas, there was just a tiny little kick up. And that's compared with, over the last holiday season was good and then just right down. And that's probably a combination of not advertising, not promoting at all, not adding any new products, and all the changes that are happening with Etsy. I know, not adding any new products. Oh my goodness.
I know. I was told myself I'm going to have 75 products in there by the end of the year. And of course I didn't make that, but it's such a big difference. And renewing my listings, I manually renew them often more. I don't do automatic. I try to get in there and just renew them, every, couple weeks I try, or once a month, just to get them going. But every time I add something new, it's like magic. Something happens in there, and then there'll be favorites will come through, and then there'll be a sale, and it's like, okay, there really is something to having a lot that people can look at. Of course, there are those shops that only have 12 and they've got really awesome products or something very specific and their shop is doing super well. But like for what I do with digital products and printables, you need to have a lot in there in order to make it, successful and keep going. So for me, it's a test as well. And I'm going to work on my sessions now that you're talking about this and change my codes, because I really want to, get into this and learn even more about this whole thing. So what do you recommend somebody that's listening now that maybe is overwhelmed after listening to us talk about codes and analytics and, oh my gosh, maybe they don't even have the Google Analytics code on their Etsy shop quite yet, or even have one. I guess the first thing would be to go and do that, open up an account,
Yep.
and then the next step would be you, right? Before they, or do they put the code up and then change their dashboard after they
I
get
even
the
have an
approval?
article on setting up your account. So you can come to
Okay.
my website for everything, how to
Yay.
set up your account and make sure all the settings are right, because I recommend slightly different settings to what Etsy's help document has.
Okay.
And then setting up your traffic sources and your engagement rate. That's probably the three most important things. But I would say don't be scared.
Okay.
Everything is copy and paste. Just take it one step at a time. And the longer that you are in there and just looking around and getting used to it, the more you'll understand. You won't understand it your first time you go in, and that's normal. It
Mm-hmm.
doesn't mean that you're stupid or that it's a waste of time. You just need time to get used to it, and that's
Yeah.
totally normal, and it'll happen.
Thankfully, we have you, Lesley. My goodness. So tell us what you offer and how you can help us. Those of us who really want to be. I mean, 2018. I really want to ramp up my Etsy shop. It's a fun thing for me, but some of my students and some of the people listening are really wanting this to be something super valuable, maybe even life changing with income. And I've seen that happen, and people being able to quit their jobs and do things. So for those of us who really want to invest in the learning, what do you have to offer us in 2018?
Cool. So on my blog, it's all DIY, and all the core setups and changes and advice is all there for free. I also have a free e-course that guides you through some of that material and then offers a little bit extra at the end about how to actually understand your data, which is really important.
Yeah.
So if you want to actually analyze instead of just blindly staring at numbers, definitely sign up for the free e-course, because those last 5 lessons are really important.
Ooh.
And then if you want to actually get me to help you with something, I've got setup packages where I actually go in and do it all for you. And then you get a little ebook at the end that explains how to use it all and some pointers and screenshots of where things are. And then if you want to take it to the next level, I've got monthly programs.
Okay, tell us more about the monthly programs. That sounds interesting.
Cool. So the monthly program that I've just released is a sort of learning, kind of like a course that goes on. So every month you get a module that teaches you something in particular about using data for your shop. Doesn't have to be Etsy necessarily, though at the moment all my clients are on Etsy. And it doesn't necessarily have to be about Google Analytics. We will be looking at finance data or email data. We might be looking at things like advertising data inside those advertising platforms. Everything about being data driven. It's going to be in that program.
Oh, okay. And so they are released monthly modules, and it'll be a different theme or topic.
Yeah. And at the moment, it's still in process of development. So if you wanted to sign up now, I'm going to be reopening my early bird spots, which are a little bit cheaper, and you work with me to sort of decide what you want to learn, give me feedback on the material that you're receiving, and we sort of develop it together. So it's going to be quite hands-on for these first members of the program as we build it to make it really awesome together.
Yeah. Oh, that is so exciting. So everyone needs to check that out. I'm going to have everything in the show notes here, but if you have a landing page ready to go go for it and say it now. People can write it down, but then I will definitely have it in there. If you don't, I'll just make sure everyone goes to the show notes, because I think what you're talking about is very valuable, and it sounds like it's geared toward Etsy, but it doesn't have to be. And
that's right.
And the free courses, the dashboards, and going in all the free stuff that you have in the e-course that you've got, the free one to help us out, could that also be used for something outside of Etsy when you're what
yes,
you're
absolutely, yeah.
okay.
The information that's only for Etsy is really obviously only for Etsy, because it'll say how to set this up for Etsy. But things like setting goals that are related to your stages of your shop growth, understanding bounce rate, or understanding how to analyze data, none of that is Etsy specific. So if you have a Shopify shop or Bigcartel or any of those places, it's all applicable.
Well, I'm going to be signing up as soon as we get off off of this interview today, because I definitely need help. I get in there and I get confused, and then, like I said, I didn't even know we could personalize it for our Etsy shop. So I think this is really, really cool. So Lesley, thank you so much for being on today. Is there anything else that you'd like to share? Any last tips or anything before I let you go?
I don't think so, Tammy. I think we covered everything.
Yeah. Oh, awesome. I'm so glad that I heard your interview, and I'm so glad that we were able to connect today all the way from Australia to Seattle. That's really awesome. I just love technology that we get to be able to do this. So thank you again, everyone. Go read the show notes. Go get Lesley's help. Invest in your Etsy shop in 2018 and really make it a life-changing experience for you. And I will see you guys all later.
Thanks, Tammy. Bye.